Okay, good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. So nice and warm out here, or in here, I should say, after being out in that out in the cold. Winter has come. So we're gonna need a blanket for today. So just you joining from home as well have a blanket, but we're gonna take our blanket and just give it a couple little folds here so that we can start out in a nice little restorative back bend. So go ahead and take that blanket and just give it, I always like it kind of folded versus rolled. It's just a little bit more, you're kind of able to settle into it a little bit more, not feel like you're falling off of it. And if you are on the taller side of things, you can also grab a block to put on the back end just to make sure that your head doesn't fall off the back, or fold your blanket a different way. But you want it long enough to be able to support your entire spine, including the back of your head. So you're just going to have a seat on the mat. So make sure you're not on your blanket, but you're actually on the mat. Tuck that blanket up nice and close to your body, and then try to give it lay back here and get that blanket in just a nice straight position so that you're not, skewing your body one way or the other. But you do want to have your hips on the floor. You want to have your entire spine on that blanket. And again, you want to know, or you want to feel that the back of the head is actually resting onto that blanket as well. So if your head hangs off the back, grab something else, give yourself a little something to support the head. You want to feel like we're able to keep a nice neutral neck here. And now a few things that you can do. So if this does bother your neck, if your neck is going to be a little achy this morning, one thing I like to do is kind of bunch up the blanket a little bit right underneath my neck. It's not that I'm making a pillow, but I'm just kind of giving a little bit of support. So kind of filling the gap, that natural curve that's there behind the neck. So that is one option. Another thing you can do, especially if this is maybe a little bit, uncomfortable around your low back, is to just make the blanket a little less thick. So maybe 2 folds instead of 3, whatever that might look like, to just make it not quite as big. But be a little bit picky with it. Give yourself a few moments to kind of finagle into the right position. So if something feels a little bit off, it's only going to feel more off in a couple of minutes after we've been laying here. So I want this to be enjoyable. I want this to feel good. If it doesn't, fix it now. So making sure that you've got that entire spine supported here. And then a variety of things you can do with your legs and your arms. My low back is feeling a little bit stiff this morning, so I'm going to start out with my knees bent, feet on the floor. If you're comfortable straightening the legs, or if you'd prefer, let's say, to butterfly the legs, those are all options, but keeping the knees bent is going to be a bit more gentle on your low back. And then arms, you can play a little bit with expanding the arms out away from your body. So maybe taking the arms more towards a T, doing something so that you're able to just broaden and open through the front of the chest a little bit more. So give it some time, get where you need to be. And again, if something is just not quite feeling comfortable, do what you can, readjust that blanket that you're laying on, make it thicker, make it thinner, resituate some body part. But you want to get into that position where you just feel like there's a natural lift to the chest. There's that extra little opening happening here through the front of the chest in a very supported way. So it's nothing that we're forcing. It's nothing that we're putting a lot of effort into. Instead, we're letting that blanket that we're laying on, we're letting that prop just give us that little bit of a lift so that we get a bit more expansion through the rib cage. For most people, probably not how we normally spend our day. If anything, we tend to kind of close off through our front body. So I want you to feel good and open. I want you to feel like you're puffing the chest, like you're lifting, like you're expanding, like you're creating space. And you want to be able from here to simply close the eyes and just feel your way into your breath and your body this morning. So every time we come onto the mat, it's a different experience. We're feeling things differently. Our body is likely going to respond to things a little bit differently. Mentally, what we have going on in our lives and our minds can be a bit different. And it can be easy to step onto our mat and just kind of, go into autopilot and go through the motions. But really giving yourself a little bit of stillness and a little bit of quiet in the beginning of your practice allows you that opportunity to scan and to feel and to notice what today has to offer. Physically, what's going on with the body, mentally, what's going on in the mind. How does today feel compared to, any of the other times that you stepped on your mat? And not a time to put, a ton of thought into this. It's really just noticing. Does something stand out? And whatever it is that you might be feeling, again, whether it's something you notice physically, whether it's something to do with your energy levels, your stress levels, whatever it might be, just figuring how you can incorporate that into your practice and really support what it is that you need today. tailoring your practice, making it really just work for you. And with the eyes closed, now that we've been here for several moments, just see if there's a little bit more space, a little bit more space to find your breath. Can you breathe a little bit more deeply? Can you find just a touch more expansion here through that torso when you breathe? So we're going to take a few moments of quiet here. And again, I encourage you just to do whatever you can to support that breath. What can you do to make that breath really just feel strong in your body? What can you do to actually feel the flow and the rhythm of your breath? Take about another 5 to 6 big breaths. Try to feel a bit more softening, releasing happening around your jaw, around your face. Let your body be nice and heavy, melting down into your props. Take another big breath. We're all going to simply bring the soles of our feet to the floor. So if your legs are straight, start to bend your knees, walk your feet in. Let's all just take a moment and just feel that mat beneath the feet. Take another big breath in. And then gently roll to one side as you exhale. Roll right into a fetal position. So try to make it easy on your body, just sort of rolling gently right off, curling up on your side so that your head comes to rest onto your bottom arm. Your knees really bent. So you want to feel like you're kind of curled into a little ball here, very much supported. Take a few more big breaths. And again, I want you to breathe deeply enough to feel it. So now a little bit more through that back side of the rib cage. Let's take about 3 more big breaths. Again, not skimping on the breath at all this morning. Try to keep it strong. Try to keep it full. One more big breath. We'll be returning onto the back from here, so you can simply reach behind, slide that blanket out of the way, and come right down onto your back from here. So just right flat down onto your back. Take the arms out wide to a T. If it feels okay to lift the palms, then lift the palms, and then begin to just slowly let your knees fall from side to side. So a good hips width distance apart between the feet, just giving you a little bit of clearance. And slowly you feel your knees rock side to side. You feel your weight sort of roll across your sacrum, shifting from side to side. Just take another big breath. And then just briefly let your knees come towards stillness. You can knock them together for a little bit more support if you like, and slowly start to shake the head now. No, now, no. Say that 5 times fast. So just slowly, like you're saying no, drop one ear towards the floor just until you feel a little pull in the opposite side of the neck, rolling back through center, allowing that opposite ear to roll towards the floor. So play a little bit with just finding the range of motion that works, letting that head just roll a bit from side to side. And if you come into a spot where you feel like good little pull and you want to intensify and just hold for a couple breaths, feel free to let the head be still for a moment or two and just take a couple deep breaths. Try to loosen up a bit here through the neck. Take another full breath. And then coming back to center, again, we've got our knees bent, both feet placed on the floor. You're gonna grab hold of your right knee and just draw that right knee in towards your chest. So hands can simply interlace around the shin, wherever they most naturally grab. And you can use just a little bit of arm strength here. So feel in your body how it feels to bring that knee in towards your chest. So the closer you squeeze the knee in, typically we'll start to compress our low back towards the floor a little bit more. So if the low back's achy, you might not draw the knee in quite as tight. If the low back feels good and it feels good to hug that knee in, feel free to go a little deeper. But see if then you can take that knee and just sort of comb it across the body. So hugging it in towards the chest, slide the knee more towards the armpit, and then slide the knee more towards the center of your chest. So just a couple little sways here, again, with any amount of pressure on that knee. Let's take another big breath. And then from here, we're just gonna hug that knee right in towards the center and then start to lift the right foot towards the ceiling. So now you're gonna move your hands to hold the back of the leg. You're gonna keep that right knee soft. So try not to force it. Don't make the knee any straighter than feels comfortable. Let's take a breath in, point the toes on that right foot. And then as you exhale, flex the foot, push to the heel and slowly lower the heel in towards your bum. Continue to hug the knee in towards your chest as you do. And then inhale, point the toes, straighten the leg, toes lift back towards the sky. And again, we'll exhale, flex the foot, slowly drag that heel in towards your bum. Take one more round as you inhale, toe points, leg straightens. As you exhale, flex and lower. And this time we're gonna inhale, just straighten the leg to the sky. No need to flex or point to do anything in particular. You can give a couple little rolls of that right ankle here if you like. Again, just let your hands support that right leg in a position where you feel a stretch, but it's doable. Take another big breath in. And as you exhale, you can either stay here or you can try straightening your left leg just on the floor. Notice how it feels. So if it feels better to your body to keep that left leg bent here, then rebend the knee, put the foot back down. If it feels better on your body to have the leg straight, completely up to you. One is not better than the other, just a matter again of giving yourself that opportunity to tune in. See which one truly does feel best to you. Let's take another full breath. And then on your next inhale, rebend the left knee. If it's not, you're gonna take that right ankle, cross it above that left knee. So figure four, keep the right foot a little bit flexed. And then as you exhale, take your right hand and see if you can push the right knee just a tiny bit wider. So rather than allowing that knee to roll in towards your body, you're gonna feel just a little bit of usage of that right hand, pushing the knee away. So your left foot can stay on the floor for now. We're just looking to create a little bit more space here into that right hip socket. So take a couple big breaths. Always an opportunity where on the back like this to get a little movement through the head if the neck is feeling stiff. And now you can stay here if this is feeling good. Otherwise, feel free to grab the back of your left leg and just hold that or hug that whole little package in towards your chest. So a few big breaths. If it's too intense to bring that left knee in, then just feel free to do what we were doing, keeping the foot on the floor. If you're kind of somewhere in between, you can always take your blanket or a block or some prop and put it underneath your left foot, simply so that you lift the foot a bit, but not necessarily hugging it all the way in. So a few big breaths. And I realize at this position, typically we can feel a little bit of intensity in the outer hip. We're using our arms. It's a little bit more active. Try to make sure that your breath stays strong. Continue to breathe deeply despite any effort you're putting in here. Take another big breath in. And as you exhale, let go, set that left foot back to the mat. We're gonna grab hold of the right knee, nice big breath in, squeeze it to your chest, and now straighten that left leg on the floor. We're gonna twist as you exhale, so take your left hand and guide that right knee right across the body, and as you do, open the right arm out to a T. So I want you to see if you can really ground that right shoulder here. Let your right shoulder push down into the floor. So more of a goal of keeping that right shoulder grounded than trying to get that right knee near the floor. Probably is not going to get very close to the floor, and that's just fine. But just use the weight of that left hand, more of an assist than anything. It's not that you have to actively pull, just allowing the weight of that left hand on the knee is going to give you a little assist. Couple more breaths. Now, if you'd like it, you can start to look over to that right hand and just get into the neck a little bit differently here. Couple more breaths. I do want you to feel like you're nice and tall through the chest. You're nice and open. If you were standing right now, your posture would be beautiful. Let's take one more big breath in. And then to release, squeeze the belly. We'll exhale back to center, squeezing that right knee right in towards the chest a final time. Take a big breath in. And then on your exhale, right foot to floor. Let's rebend that left knee, both feet to floor. And before we go anywhere else, just windshield wiper. Release that low back a little bit. Release around the hips by dropping your knees from side to side. Pretty self-guided here. So as we go through these transitions, I encourage you to just move at your own pace and really to add any little bits of movement, any little extras that you'd like. Take another big breath. I just want you to kind of notice how the legs feel, how the two hips feel now, if you're noticing any difference. And then coming back to center, we're going to keep our right foot parked on the floor for now. Inhale, grab your left knee. Just let the hands interlace around that shin. Use a bit of that arm strength to hug the knee in towards your chest. Find on this side how much pressure feels good, and then consider that little slide more from the armpit towards the center of the chest. So just sort of sliding the leg across the body a couple times. Take another breath. And a nice big squeeze of the knee. We're going to inhale now, lift that left foot to the sky here. Hands just interlacing on the back of the leg. Find how straight or bent you're comfortable keeping that leg. So again, err on the side of a little bit softer, not trying to force anything. Let's take a breath in, point the left toes straight to the sky. And then exhale, flex the foot, really push to that heel, lower that heel in towards your bum. Inhale as you straighten the left leg, pointing the toe, like you're trying to touch your big toe to the ceiling. And exhale, lead with the heel, flex the foot, lower that leg in towards your body. One more inhale, point and straighten. Exhale, bend and flex. And now on your next inhale, just lift the foot. You're going to pause. So give that ankle a couple rolls. No need to do anything in particular. Point, flex, whatever feels good. Hands just adding a little bit of weight to the back of the leg. Back body simply rooted down to the floor. So you're feeling nice and relaxed here through the back body. And I want you to, again, feel just a light stretch to the back of the leg. It's nothing real intense. Let's take one more big breath in. And then as you exhale, you can either stay or consider straightening that right leg. Try taking the right leg straight, just see how it feels. Bent or straight, whichever's up to you. Take two more big breaths. And then on the next inhale, bring that knee back in towards the chest. So bend that left knee and then set your right foot back to the floor if it's not. We're going to move to the figure four. So as you exhale, flex your left foot, cross the ankle onto that right thigh and keep the right foot on the floor to start. Use your left hand to widen that left knee a bit. So gently, keyword is always gently, giving a little bit of pressure onto that inside of the knee here, inside of the leg, just to help widen a little bit, to create a little bit more space. And breathe. I want you to feel it nice and strong in your body. Take another breath. And then either stay here or consider reaching through, grabbing hold now of the back of your right leg and hugging that whole little figure four right in towards the body. This is where you should start to feel outer hip, outer glute, a little something going on that left side, or maybe a lot something going on that left side. I feel like this colder weather, especially in the morning, just body takes a while to get there, right? I don't know, my hips are definitely feeling a little bit stiff today. So utilize the breath. You always have that breath to your advantage here. Breathing deeply is going to help relax your body. It's going to help open these tighter areas. Good. Let's take one more breath in. And then let go as you exhale. Bring that right foot back to the floor. We're gonna have hold of that left knee and take a big breath in. Squeeze the left knee tight to the chest. Now straighten your right leg long down your mat. And twist on the exhale. Right hand this time is used to guide the knee. Left arm stretches out, reaches to T. Left shoulder pushes into the floor. Head and neck really aligned to find something that's comfortable. So whatever you do with the head obviously has a big impact on what you're doing with your neck. And breathe. Feel that breath nice and strong. Double check to make sure that that left shoulder stays heavy. Take one more breath in. And exhale from the belly, bring it all back to center. Grab that left knee. Let's inhale left knee to chest and then grab the right knee, hug your right knee in. Give both knees a little squeeze. You can rock a bit from side to side here. Hug your forehead towards your knees, kick your feet to the sky. So whatever feels good. Take just a few breaths, reset. And then coming more towards stillness, one hand on each knee. Let's just take a few little circles with the knees. So draw maybe 3 to 4 circles in one direction, 3 to 4 in the other direction, big or small. So the low back's a bit sensitive this morning, smaller circles. If you really feel like you need to loosen up that low back, maybe a little bit bigger. And again, do be sure that you switch directions here. Let's take one more breath in, squeeze those knees in tight. And then as you exhale, you're gonna roll over to one side, whichever side is more natural for you. And slowly you're gonna start that ascent up to all fours. So no rush at all, but just take your time pushing down into your hands. Creak, creak, crackle, and start making your way up to all fours. So all fours, just continue to move around a bit and to explore. You can start with a couple cat cows, inhaling as you let your belly dip down, your tailbone rise, and exhaling as you tuck your chin, tuck your tail around the spine. So you can move through a couple cycles of cat cow here with your breath, but also feel free to just explore a bit. So if that cat cow morphs into something a little bit different, if you're starting to add, some different movements into it, that's always a good thing. So exploration is always a positive on your mat. One positive thing is that it really does help loosen up your body in the way that you need. Another good thing is it tends to give us a little bit more of that mental connection. So when you're really just paying attention and you're feeling, you're a lot more here, you're a lot more present than just kind of going through the motions without paying any attention. Let's take another big breath. And then from here, we're gonna keep that left knee under the left hip. Take your right leg right out to the side. So you're gonna take that right leg, step it straight out to the side. You want the arch of that right foot more or less in line with that left knee. And if it works for your ankles, try to aim your toes more or less forward. Push down a little bit into the pinky toe and then walk your hands forward just a touch. We're just gonna take our weight and kind of shift the weight right back towards the heels, pull the weight forward here, and just rock back and forth a couple times at your own pace. So walking the hands further forward is just going to give you a little bit more space, a little bit more clearance. But the range of motion is really going to be up to you. So I want you to play with a little bit, really pushing those hips back, bringing those hips and chest forward. Find the range of motion that works. A fairly flat back, so it's not that we're getting into the spine a whole lot here. Focus is more on the hips, on the inner legs. And if you're feeling like you want a little bit more on those inner legs, again, I want you to really push down into the pinky toe on that right side. Let's take another 2 breaths. Feel free, as always, if you find the sweet spot, just to hold instead of continuously moving. And then right back to center. Let's walk the hands in, rise up to your fingertips, and then take a big breath in, lift the hands overhead. We're going to bring our right hand down as you exhale. So right hand, right leg, and just reach really long through that left side. Do cactus your top arm a bit so that you have more clearance around your shoulder. And breathe. I want you to feel that left side. Feel that left side nice and strong. Take another deep breath. And then inhale, sweep both hands right back to the sky. Both arms nice and long. And exhale, bring your hands back down to the mat. Walk your hands forward enough that you're back in sort of that all fours position. And then simply bring the right knee in, both knees back to the floor. Give a little roll, a little release, shake it out, release in any way that you need to. And from here, we're just going to switch sides. So you're going to keep your right knee down. This time your left foot steps out nice and wide, arch and knee pretty well aligned. Pinky toe on that left foot really pushing into the floor, and then a little bit more space by walking the hands forward. Begin to shift the weight forward, sinking the hips a bit, and then push the weight back. So it could be similar on this side, could feel different on this side. So just be present enough in this side to make those changes, whether you're going in a little bit more deeply, whether you're backing off a little bit, whether you find that perfect spot to hold or you just continue to move. Just breathe while you go. Stay anchored in your breathing, stay present in your body. We'll take a couple more breaths here. And then more towards stillness with the spine. Let's walk the hands in under the shoulders, rise to fingertips, and then inhale, rise all the way up to that little kneel here, hands overhead. Left hand down this time as you exhale, soften that right elbow. Your chest, your hips still aim forward, but we're stretching nice and long into that right side body. So give it a few big breaths. Be conscious of your head positioning, how it impacts your neck. Breathe strongly here. Feel it in that right side. Let's take 2 more big breaths here. And then inhale, rise, both hands back to sky. Exhale, hands to floor. On your inhale, walk the hands forward a bit, bring that that left knee back in. We're gonna tuck our toes and exhale, push yourself up into a plank. Now, if you'd like to stay on your knees, completely fine. Otherwise, lift your knees off the floor. If you need to walk your hands a bit further forward, one of your hands roughly under your shoulders and be right up here onto the balls of your feet. You guys all look good. So engage a little bit through that upper back, try to make sure we're not collapsing our chest. We're super strong through the core. Let's take one more inhale. And then down dog on exhale. All you gotta do is lift the hips, slide those hips high, check the placement of your feet, make sure they're at least hips width distance apart. And now rock your tail from side to side, lift and lower your heels, bend and straighten your knees. Also, try not to forget about the upper body. So you can give a little nod, shake to the head. You can soften your elbows a little bit, spread your fingers, really root your fingers into the mat. Take another big breath. And then bend both knees quite a bit. We're gonna walk our hands back to our feet. So rocking back into a forward fold here, letting your hands crawl towards the back of your mat. Again, knees fairly soft. You can let the crown of your head be heavy. Take a couple big breaths, whether you choose to sway a little bit or simply find stillness. Let's take one more breath. And then on your next inhale, halfway lift. Now we begin to straighten the legs and straighten the spine nice and flat. Soften it all as you exhale, fold back in. Again, inhale, rise it halfway up, nice flat active spine. And exhale, fold. This next inhale, all the way up. We're gonna rise to standing, lifting and sweeping those hands overhead, nice and broad. And then exhale, close the eyes and land your hands to your heart. It's been a little while since we've been standing, so just take a moment, let everything settle and adjust as you need it to here. Check your posture, try to slide the shoulders back a touch. I want you to feel like you're opening your chest, not in a forced way, but in a pretty natural way, even if it doesn't necessarily feel that natural because we don't do it that much. Take another big breath. And then inhale, sweep those hands overhead. Let's reach and stretch as tall as we can, bowing forward on exhale, knees soften, dive down, bringing your belly towards your lap. We'll inhale, flat back, lifting up halfway. And exhale, fold. Inhale, now stand tall, anchor down, lift and sweep the hands overhead. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale again, rise up. And exhale, bow down. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, deeper fold. Inhale, stand tall, extended Tadasana, lift and rise. Big sweep of the arms and exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, bow down. Inhale, flat back. And exhale, bend your knees a lot. Bring your hands to the floor. We're going to inhale, walk ourselves forward into downward facing dog. Stay here to exhale. And then that next inhale, left heel high. Kick your left leg to the sky. And exhale, step your left foot forward, right down into a lunge. Your right knee meets the mat. We'll take a big breath in here, lift and sweep those hands overhead. And stay here to exhale, just softening a little bit through the shoulders. Keep that gaze nice and soft, left toes spread. Let's take another big breath in. And as you exhale, sweep your fingertips back down onto the floor. We're going to push into that right hand and inhale, lift your back knee, lift your left hand. So you're in a revolved lunge now. That right leg nice and long. If you'd rather keep the knee on the floor for support, always an option. Otherwise, left hand high. Plug down into that right palm. Take another big breath in. And then exhale, downward dog. Send your left hand to the mat. Step your left foot back. Give it just a little pedal, a little wag, a little wiggle. Take another deep breath. And on your next inhale now, right leg high. Kick that right heel straight to sky. And exhale, step it forward lightly. Release your left knee to the floor. As you inhale, the hips drop, the hands lift. We open through the chest, soften through the shoulders. Try to relax your gaze as best you can. Try to steady out your breath. And if that body feels, especially that front knee feels a little bit unsteady, again, really widen your front toes. Help get some good surface area of that foot down to keep the knee stable. Take one more breath in. And then exhale, bring your hands back down. You're going to plug into your left hand this time. We'll inhale, left knee lifts, right hand peels open. So as you turn the chest, you want to try to keep your hips pretty square. Try to keep your hips pretty low. Nice and open here through the chest. I want you to feel that length in your spine. Beautiful little twist through the back here. Take one more breath in. And exhale, bring that right hand down. This time we'll step forward. So take your left foot, step it up next to your right foot and inhale, flat back. Rise halfway. Exhale, fold, soften back in. Next breath in, all the way up to standing. Push through the floor, sweep the hands overhead. And exhale, hands back to heart. Inhale, rise. And exhale, bow forward. Inhale, flat back. And now right leg back on exhale, step it long. This time, warrior two, we're going to plug that outer edge of the right foot to the floor and use your breath in to come up. So pretty wide stance between the feet for most people. Feet are roughly under their hands in this pose. Spread a little bit into those left toes and make your left pinky edge of your foot just a little bit heavier. Try to soften your shoulders even though we're actively reaching. Give it a few big breaths. So strong in the body, but try not to get stiff. Try not to get tense. You want to feel a little bit fluid with it still. You can breathe. There's movement. There's freedom around the rib cage. Take another deep breath. And then inhale, reverse warrior. Just the arms. We keep the legs just like they are. And now forward to extended side angle as you exhale. See if you can maybe bend that left knee a tiny bit more. And then check it out how it feels with the right hand. You might reach more towards the ceiling. You might reach more towards the front room. But your left hand is on that left leg, not moving much at all, or not doing a whole lot of work here at all. Take one more breath. Push into your right pinky toe. Inhale, back to reverse. Big reach up and back. And now exhale, cartwheel the hands down. Land your hands around that front foot. Drop onto your back knee. You can tuck or untuck the back toes. That part's up to you. What feels better on your knee, but inhale those hands overhead. And then just clasp behind your back as you exhale. Let's take a moment. Drop the hips. Lift and puff that chest. So I want you to feel the expansiveness here through the front body. Take one more deep breath. And then releasing the hands, nice big breath in, both arms overhead. And exhale, both hands down to the mat. We're gonna perch up to the fingertips, nice low lunge here. So inhale, lift the knee, but keep those hips nice and low. And exhale, big step forward. Both feet move right back to the top of your mat. We'll inhale, flat back, halfway lift. Exhale, fold back in. Inhale, we now stand tall, root down, lift and rise, sweeping those hands overhead. And exhale, hands back to heart. Inhale again, reach it up. And exhale, bow down. Inhale, flat back. And now left leg back on exhale, take a long step, little warrior two. You're gonna pivot that heel down and a big breath in. We come up, reaching long into the arms, bending deeply into that front knee. See if you can find a little bit more length through your side bodies. Get a nice long reach through the arms. Make sure there's no tension creeping in around the neck. So find a direction to look that feels okay on your neck. And again, try to avoid stiffening those shoulders. That's all going to create tension into that neck. Take another big breath. And then inhale, reverse right hand lifts, big reach up and back. Stay low in the leg here and exhale, extended side angle. Bring that right hand forward. Play a little bit with the reach of the left, more towards the ceiling, more towards the front wall, whatever works. Nice strong bend into your right knee, left foot. We really push into that pinky toe edge. And breathe. The breath still flows, the breath still moves regardless of how much effort we're putting into everything else. One more breath. And then inhale back to reverse, both hands high. Exhale, cartwheel it down. Both hands meet the mat. We're gonna lift the back heel and drop the back knee. We inhale from here, hands reach overhead. This time on your exhale, shrug the shoulders back, pull the hands back a little bit, pull the chest forward just a little bit, soften your elbows, and just really almost like a little surrender here through that upper body, really nice and open. Take one more breath. And then inhale, hands straight back overhead. Nice neutral spine. We're gonna exhale, hands back to the floor. Perch up to your fingertips and inhale. Keep the hips low, lift that back knee. Exhale, step it forward, both feet up to the top of your mat. We'll inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we now stand tall, push down, lift up, big sweep and reach of the arms. And exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Make sure those feet are good, hips width distance apart here. Just spread the toes a little bit. We'll inhale, hands overhead. And exhale, dive forward. Inhale, flat back to lengthen. And right leg back on exhale. This time, aim the hips and chest forward for crescent. We're gonna soften the back knee a little bit and use your breath in to come up. So hands can be shoulders width distance apart or wider. Just give yourself a little bit of space to that upper body, bit of a bend into that back knee. See if you can let the hips drop just a touch. And again, just steady out the gaze here. So find one thing to look at. Try to keep your gaze pretty steady so that we don't get quite as wobbly into the body. And take just a couple more big breaths. Take one more big breath in here. And then as you exhale, bring both hands down onto your hips. We're gonna straighten into that front knee just a little bit. We're not quite straight. Lean forward and then see if you can just launch right into a warrior three from here. Now you can always take the prep pose, hands down onto a block of the floor. You can have your hands on your hips. Arms out to T give you just a little bit more, kind of stability. Hands forward is going to challenge you a little bit more. So you can find what works. But again, a steady gaze is key. Take one more big breath in. And as you exhale, hands to heart, bend your standing leg a little bit. We're just going to land into a chair pose. So bring that right foot forward, sink down into your heels. Take one more breath in. Drop just a tiny bit as you exhale. Feel the strength in those legs. And then rise as you breathe in. Try to avoid locking the knees, but just take a big sweep, a big reach of the hands. Then exhale, hands to heart. Pause and just reset as you need to. Space those feet again, a good hips width distance apart. And take a big breath in here, reach the arms overhead. Exhale again, dive it forward. Inhale, flat back to lengthen. And now left leg back as you exhale, big long step, bend to the knee. And for crescent lunge, we'll inhale by pushing down into the feet and reaching those hands overhead. Try to soften your shoulders. Try to hug that rib cage in. You want to keep a steady gaze. Keep a strong breath. Just take the opportunity, that little bit of stillness, nothing forced. Body's likely going to wobble and wiggle just a little bit, but just to really reclaim your breath today. Take another breath in. And then exhale, hands to heart. Again, we're going to lean forward a little bit. So straighten both legs just a little bit so we're not super low. Lift that chest a touch and then launch up onto that right foot. See if you can start to tick-tock so that you're more or less in a T shape here. Hands can be at your heart, can be out to T, can come down to the floor. Again, you have a lot of options. Your right foot, try to spread the toes. Notice that there is going to be some movement around the ankle and the leg. Just breathe. Take one more breath in. And again, we'll meet in chair on the exhale. So bring the hands to your heart, soften that standing leg, bring the left foot in. Pause and take a big breath in. Tiny bit lower as you exhale. And all the way up on your inhale, nice and slow, nice and steady, just take a big reach. And exhale, dive forward. That next breath in, flat back, we lift halfway up. And downward facing dog as you exhale, both hands down to the floor, both feet step back. Give a good solid pedal of your feet. Take another breath. And then inhale, shift forward to plank, nice and strong through the core. Keep that upper back strong, keep that core on. Take a breath in. And then exhale to lower down all the way. So super slow, hover your body down towards the floor. Take your feet nice and long, untuck the toes, and then just bring your forehead under your hands. Give a little wag of the tail here. Take a moment to sort of let yourself melt down into your mat. One more breath. And then on the next inhale, take the hands, sweep behind your back for locust pose. Squeeze the hands together, and as you interlace, you're going to start to lift the chest. Now, if this is too much, you don't have to clasp the hands. You can just bring your hands parallel and reach both of your hands to the wall behind you. So either option is fine, but you want to feel like your chest is sort of inching forward as your knuckles push back. Look to the floor in front of your mat and lengthen the back of your neck. Notice how your breath affects your pose. You won't notice that if you're holding your breath, right? So breathe deeply. And I want you to feel out a little bit of a rock. Take one more breath in. And then release on exhale, left ear towards the floor. Just let yourself really soften in. So a lot of effort going into that last posture. A lot of not effort going into this one. I want you to feel just the opposite. You're not trying, you're not doing, you're just dropping in. Let's take one more big breath. And then on your next inhale, head back to center. One last time, let's clasp behind the back for locust, pulling the shoulders back. This time, if you'd like to lift the feet, you can flare your toes. Spread the toes nice and wide. Pull those knuckles back. And breathe. If it's too much to lift the feet, just keep them on the floor. Again, feel a little rock, a little ebb and flow that comes from your breathing. One more breath in. And then lower on exhale, nice release. Right ear to the floor this time. Give a little wag of your tail. You can even lift your feet and windshield wiper a bit if your low back feels tight. Take another big breath in. And then exhale, feet back to floor. Bring your chin back to center. Let's stay here. Inhale as your hands release under your shoulders. Squeeze the core and exhale, push it back, all fours. We're gonna take a few breaths in child's pose, but first just wiggle and wag and sway and do what you need to do here before you eventually tuck your hips back, hips to heels, head to floor. Just surrender in for a few big breaths. So just take a few moments, deepen your breath, settle your body. Try to let the torso be heavy, your arm bones on the floor. Let's take one more breath. And then on the inhale, lift, rise back to the hands and the knees. Walk the knees and the hands in. We're going to be coming onto our back, but last chance to just sort of reset, whether it's through a few little cat-cows or rolls. And from here, you're going to be taking that blanket that you had from earlier and just set it off to the left side of your mat. So have it accessible and kind of keep it in that little roll here over on the left side of your mat, and then bring your way down onto your back. Again, you can start with a little windshield wiper, rock your knees a bit side to side and just reset, arms sweep out to a T. You're going to keep that left foot on the mat from here. Take your right leg, wrap your right leg around your left. So wind the thighs together. Big breath in, those arms to T. And then as you exhale, shift your hips to the right, just a tiny, tiny bit, drop your knees to the left. So as you drop your knees to the left, something should come to land on that blanket that you have. So the closer the blanket is to your body, the more support it's going to give you. So you can adjust as needed just to give yourself a bit of support, especially in this variation of the twist. It tends to kind of put a little pressure on our low backs. So by giving a little bit of support, you're still going to get the twist. You're still going to get that stretch into the outer hip and glute, but you can give yourself a little bit of support so things aren't just hanging in space. You want to give the body something to settle into. Around that right shoulder, and if this is too intense on any part of the body, instead of winding the legs together, just stack your right knee on top of your left knee. Now that we're a couple of breaths in, double check your neck and your head. Make sure that that positioning is in a place that feels good. Take about another maybe 5 to 7 deep breaths here. Take one more big breath in. And as you exhale from the belly, bring those knees back to center. Unwind, set both feet to the floor. We'll take a little windshield wiper of those knees before we switch. And now if you've got that blanket over on the left side, you can reach, grab it, move it over to the right side. And then we'll keep our right foot on the floor here to start. Pick up your left leg, wrap your left leg around, take a big breath in, reset the shoulders, slide your hips just a touch to the left. And this time exhale, drop everything over to the right side. Adjust that blanket so it gives you enough support that you feel just pretty relaxed and comfortable here. You're not feeling a great deal of intensity. Head and neck comfortably positioned. Just melt into it. One more big breath in. And exhale, engage your core. Lift the knees back to center. We'll unwind. Set both feet back to the floor. And again, you can give a little rock from side to side with your knees. Eventually just setting both feet to the floor, bring your hands by your side. Tuck your shoulders under. Let's take a big breath in, setting up for bridge. Push down into your upper arm bones and shoulders, and then exhale, push into your feet, lift your hips. You can go just a real gentle bridge here, or if you prefer to interlace the hands behind your back and come a bit more deeply into it, that is also an option. Take one more breath. And then inhale, lift your heels. Take your hands, reach to the wall behind you. Let's roll it down on exhale. So one little vertebrae at a time, spine releases back down. Hips and heels drop in a final rock of your knees here from side to side. So take a moment here and just scan through your body. And if there's anything else at all that you'd like before Shavasana, if there's any last little pose, if it's simple as, hugging your knees to your chest, stretching your body long, whatever it might be, take your body through any last little bits of movement here that you need. Anything at all that's going to help to just settle and reset your body. And as you start transitioning into your Shavasana, there's no rush. Use any props that feel, help you to feel more comfortable. So I love taking that rolled blanket back behind the knees just to give a little softening to the knees. It kind of helps relax your low back. Another alternative is to take that folded blanket and lay it across your pelvis and hips. And it's kind of the same concept as like a weighted blanket. It's, gives you a little bit more of that sense of grounding, of kind of being tucked in. So spread yourself out, take up as much space as you need, and just really bring your body into the most comfortable position that you can find this morning, whatever that means. Likely we're all going to look a little bit different, and that is one of the beauties of yoga. I want you to just do what feels great to you. Make it your practice, make it work for your body. Do the things that just feel great. Get yourself tucked into that final position. Again, whatever it looks like, just make sure you feel good and comfortable. And all together, let's take a big breath in here, biggest inhale you can possibly take. Pause just a moment, hold the breath. Big exhale. Let every single drop of that breath go. And as you do, this is truly your chance to just drop in and surrender. No longer are you trying to control your breath, your body, your mind. Instead, you're just allowing yourself that space to let it all go. Completely disconnect and release. Start to notice your breath. Deepen your breath again. And as your breath expands, start taking just a few small little movements, just little wiggles of your toes and fingers. A gentle roll of your wrists and of your ankles, slowly shaking the head no. And then inhale, full body reach and stretch. Nice and long as you exhale. Start to bend the knees, hug your knees into your chest and just squeeze tight. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, roll over to whichever side is more comfortable for you and pause, giving it a big breath. Eventually pushing down into that top hand, you're going to start to just feel your way up and come into a tall seat. Find that space where you can sit tall, breathe deeply. Moving hands into your heart space. We'll close this morning with a final shared breath. As you next inhale, arms are going to circle. Take a big reach and sweep overhead, nice and tall. Palms connect. Exhale, hands to heart. Thank you all so much for being present this morning to share your breath, your energy, your practice. Have a beautiful day. Namaste. Thank you all so much. Let's have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for coming in. Those of you joining online, thank you very much. Have a good day.